It is my honor and pleasure to honor you, to welcome you to the inaugural Environmental, Social and Governance ESG Reporting Workshop, held under the timely and critical theme, Advancing ESG Reporting in Zimbabwe, the Challenges, Opportunities, and the Road Ahead. This workshop marks the first in a series of engagements aimed at embedding a culture of public and private sector accountability and transparency through ESG and sustainability impacts and reporting. This initiative will be steered within the framework of the Integrated Results-Based Management IRBM performance system, aligned to the whole-of-government approach, spearheaded by the Corporate Governance Unit, the CGU, in the OPC. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, allow me to take the opportunity to sincerely acknowledge and commend His Excellency for launching Vision 2030, guided by the principle of leaving no one and no place behind. Under his leadership, our nation has witnessed transformational progress across the economic governance and social pillars through a strong culture of accountability and transparency. I would now like to share some of the encouraging developments from our economic front. And some of these, you will get a broader view later on this afternoon. The Minister will be presenting our midterm budget review. I think there'll be some important nuggets to pick up on. Since the inception of NDS1 in 2021, real economic growth has averaged above 5%, with the exception of 2024, which was adversely affected by the El Nino-induced drought. However, our economic performance is expected to rebound in 2025, where we're expected to grow at an average of 6%, and this is mainly driven by recovery in agriculture, mining, and the service sectors. Let me also inform you that recently we completed the economic census by Zimstat, and it has led to a significant reevaluation of our GDP to 44.5 billion from 35.2 billion in 2023. This revision reflects important coverage of formal and informal businesses and better measurement of economic activity across sectors. This will probably be an important theme in our workshop as we look at compliance of an informal sector setting to bring them in the formal and access some of the benefits of being ESG compliant, given the nature of our global financing structures and requiring ESG reporting as a standard. The structure of the economy has also fundamentally changed, with the manufacturing sector now leading at 15.3%, following by mining 14.5% and financial services at 10.8%. This marks a shift from the historical dominance of wholesale and retail trade, reflecting greater industrialization and financial deepening, key indicators of sustainable development. If we have growth in our manufacturing, growth in mining, these are probably the two sectors that call for ESG compliance. This is a sector that is growing, which means that this workshop is really timely in its convening. While this is commendable, there is need to ascertain whether all the economic players are adhering to environmental, social governance, and best practice. This also calls for the need to interrogate the linkages of our economic strategy with ESG ambitions. An economy that is growing and transforming structurally must also be held to high standards of environmental responsibility, social inclusion, and governance excellence. It is against this backdrop of real progress and real challenges that today's workshop takes on added significance. ESG reporting is not simply about disclosure, it is about shaping an accountable, green, and equitable future. Now, turning to our environment, the effects of climate change are no longer abstract. Zimbabwe has experienced increased extreme weather events, droughts, floods, cyclones that threaten ecosystems, agriculture, biodiversity, and human security. These events, which include Cyclone Helene in 2000, Cyclone Japhet in 2003, Cyclone Dineo in 2017, Cyclone Idai in 2019, Cyclone Shalene in 2020, Cyclone Anna in 2021, Cyclone Eloise in 2022, as well as the recent El Nino-induced drought in 2024, have significantly disrupted livelihoods and infrastructure, placing pressure on supply chains and increasing production costs, especially in energy-intensive industries. The government of Zimbabwe has proactively responded by crafting the National Climate Change Response Strategy, NCCRS, in 2014, followed by the National Climate Policy in 2017. Zimbabwe is a signatory to the Paris Agreement and is committed to honor obligations. However, the advanced economies should lead in meeting their commitments if the world is to achieve our climate ambition of reducing emissions and ultimately reverse the climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, the NCCRS outlines a roadmap across 4 pillars. First one, laying the groundwork and addressing data and capacity gaps. Analyzing current and future climate scenarios. Prioritizing climate adaptation, enhancing planning capacity, and mobilizing resources. And lastly but not least, reporting, monitoring, and updating national adaptation plans to ensure effectiveness and inclusivity. I'm delighted to inform you that Zimbabwe recently hosted the Ramsar COP15 on wetlands in Victoria Falls, a major event that drew significant international participation and marked an important step forward toward safeguarding our biodiversity and ecosystems. In the realm of corporate and financial regulation in Zimbabwe, the Securities and Exchange Commissions of Zimbabwe, SECZIM, has taken the leading role in promoting ESG and sustainability practices. SECZIM ensures that publicly traded companies meet disclosure requirements, prevent greenwashing, and provide investors with transparent, comparable data on sustainability metrics, including carbon emissions and climate risks. In our earlier discussion, we were briefly touched on greenwashing, and understand that the team from KPMG had a few thoughts around that. I'm hoping before I leave, we can have a full discussion on how SECZIM, the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, government can come up with an effective framework to ensure that we're not just ticking boxes, but when those who check the boxes that we've ticked come to verify we've actually done the work. This, I think, entails a broader discussion around do we have the right skills at institutional level, not just for the reporting, but for the implementation to make sure that indeed we are following the right green standards as it should.